And we're here at the 2025 Realcomm IBCon conference here in Savannah. And with me is Rob Teel, President of Global Solutions at Yardi. Hi,
Lisa.
Rob. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
Good to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
Yeah.
I was telling you earlier, this is the one conference I make sure I go to every single year. And you look around the trade floor here and the general session is just such a great turnout. It's great to be back. And Savannah is a cool location.
It
Nice
really
job.
is. It really is. I've heard a good number of people who commented that they'd never been here before, but had it on their list. So we were checking off some boxes for some people.
But we had fun last night. We went across the river and took the ferry. Which we went the wrong direction. We went upriver first, and so it ended up being quite a long ferry ride, but it's so cool. You're right across, 200 yards across from the city here, the convention center. It's a great spot.
Yeah. Well, we were here on this stage about an hour ago during the general session, and you were one of our keynote speakers, so there were probably some folks that were not in the room. So give our audience a recap of your presentation and what some of the takeaway points were.
Sure. Well, I kind of started by talking about how innovation happens at Yardi, and it's not something that we do in a black box. It starts with a conversation with a client, and so some of the conversations that we've had over the last 6 to 12 months, I recap those. On one hand, there's innovation that our clients are introducing to the market through their portfolios, through their properties, and that influences our roadmap and influences our technology. On the other hand, sometimes we have innovation, technical innovation, spoiler alert, AI, that influences the property and the way that business practices are conducted at the property. So those kind of are the two ways that innovation happens at Yardi, and it's really an exciting time. So maybe I could share just a little bit on those two topics. And,
Please, yes.
Yeah. So if we think about what happens at the property influencing tech, we typically think in terms of asset classes. So you've got office, industrial, retail. In the office market, what we've seen is this desire to monetize amenities. That since COVID, there's been this theme of flight to quality. Tenants are looking for Class A plus space. They want to get their employees back in the office, and so they're willing to pay a little bit more for that. And so office owners built out beautiful common area space, built out a lot of conference rooms during, in the last 5 years. And that, big expense that they've laid out, there's a desire to kind of start to recoup some of that. And if you take an example of maybe the 3rd or 4th floor on an office tower, and the owner turns that into a common area space with a kitchen, maybe there's a coffee machine or two, and there's some conference rooms. And the conference rooms are important because the size of space that leases and tenants are occupying today, because of the hybrid workforce, has shrunk. But if everybody comes into the office on the same day, you kind of need this overflow, right? And so conference rooms are kind of a premium right now. So what is the technical answer to this? Well, one, most of our office owner clients are selling, are including credit pools along with their leases. So you get a certain number of credits free per month. And if you go over that, there's an overage charge. So the apps today that we're seeing in the marketplace, and Yardi certainly has one as well, and some of this is inherited from the co-working industry, they allow you to gain access to the 3rd floor. They allow you to open the conference room door, because there's typically a lock on the conference room doors. They track the credits. They create an invoice if there's an overage of the credits. You bill for the overage. And then I think what's really fascinating is this idea of being able to, that app for the employees of a building to tap into an affiliate network. An affiliate network would be a global collection of conference rooms where those employees can use the owner's app, the owner's brand, but access a conference room anywhere if they're traveling, just like they would in Uber. So a lot happening in office, and
that is truly an example of being flexible and adjusting and pivoting to the market, to the market conditions and the situations that your clients are talking to you about, those circumstances and those needs and challenges that they have. So it sounds like you're responding very directly to some of those things.
Yeah. I mean, there's confusion in the office market right now. There's a lack of occupancy. Their values of buildings are going down, and everyone's trying to figure out what's the new model? What is the office going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? So a lot of innovation comes out of those conversations. So that's pretty exciting. Maybe I'll give one more example. Industrial. One of the main themes we're seeing from particularly the large industrial owners is this idea of taking back the utility meter from the tenant. In a triple net lease, it's very common to transition ownership of the meter from the utility company to the tenant. And when you do
Okay.
that, the owner is then blind to the utility usage at that property, at that unit. And so if you want to do any sustainability reporting, forget it, because you don't know. You have to call the tenant and ask. So there's a couple reasons you want to do that to keep the meter. One is sustainability, like being able to report and GRESB reporting. The second might be you've got rooftop solar and you want to provide direct generation services to your tenants, right? So be an energy provider. And the third is, in deregulated states, you have an opportunity of negotiating at scale better energy prices for your tenants, which is the benefit to the tenant, and there's potentially some margin there for the owner. So those are two examples of kind of like business practice or portfolio property level innovation that's got us tap dancing and trying to keep up with the innovation of the properties.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, the conversation and topic of data is always top of mind,
Yes.
and is the foundation of AI. And so how do you think the market is approaching AI? I mean, it's coming so fast, it's changing so much, and the pace is probably overwhelming for a lot of clients. Are you hearing a lot of Yardi clients asking a lot of questions, approaching it maybe in a little bit different way, or how are you sensing or seeing that it might have been different from 12 months ago?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you, like one of the conversations I was just in about is return on investment, or the theme of the conference is return on innovation, which I think is awesome, right? So what is the ROI on AI right now? It's very difficult to prove. We have seen proof in certain specific areas, particularly in multifamily, where it's a high transaction business, right? It's a homogeneous asset class. Units look like units, properties look like properties, no matter where you are in the country. The external chatbots, which have been around for a long time, but they're now for us powered by OpenAI. They're very conversational. You don't even realize you're talking to a chatbot. Their number one job is to schedule a tour. And there's a very clear ROI. If you can get somebody to schedule a tour and come on site, the chances of you closing that deal and leasing an apartment are very high. And we're seeing a 3 to 5 time increase on the chatbot being able to book a tour than a leasing agent. And you may ask, well, why is that? Well, the chatbot's awake 24/7. It doesn't go to sleep. The leasing agent has to sleep from time to time. The leasing agent can be a little bit passive, whereas the chatbot is called polite persistence. It's constantly nudging you towards an outcome, in this case, scheduling a tour. So it's actually a better salesperson than a leasing agent. So the question is, how does that relate to commercial real estate? And I think we're not going to be as lucky in commercial real estate to have a chatbot that just does all these things out of the box. I think that's where we're going to need custom agents. And so an example of an agent that's not a chatbot might be, I need to proactively reach out to a resident or a tenant to discuss a renewal. I need to proactively reach out to a tenant about a late payment or collections. I need to proactively start to talk, about this topic or that. But we can't anticipate what all those topics are going to be. And that's why it's really important, and what we're working on right now is developing a toolkit where you can create your own custom agent, right? Each one of our clients, the third-party consultants, can create an agent to do some of those things that I just mentioned. Maybe the way that you treat clients or the tone that you use when you try to collect on a late payment might be different than your competitor. Maybe you're a little rough, or maybe you use kid gloves. And so these are things that AI is very good at, tone, intent, but it's always nudging towards an outcome. And I think that's where these agents are going to be very valuable to the commercial real estate industry.
It's very interesting, and it's again moving so fast and progressing so far in such a short period of time. Well, we only have about a minute. Anything that you think is coming down the pipe? What do you see coming in the next 6 months? Any big changes in the industry itself?
Well, I'll speak for Yardi. I mean, we're really excited. We've kind of quietly launched our Voyager 8 program. It's been out now for a year and a half. What that does is Voyager 8 is a consistent user interface across all of our modules. We have a consistent application layer, and we have a consistent data layer across all of our applications. You were talking about data and the importance of data to AI before. Our footprint is so wide, and we've got such a consistent and clean architecture that for us to deploy and give our clients the ability to create their new agents is so much easier than if you're in a bunch of fractured point solutions and trying to cobble together an agent to traverse many different systems. And so Our clients certainly have multiple systems, and so that's a challenge that we need to cover, but it's really nice knowing that we've got at least a home base, a platform that's pretty wide where they can conduct a lot of their AI activities on a clean, simple, single stack environment like Yardi.
Well, great. Well, I think we are out of time. It's been a pleasure having you back. Hopefully you'll come back and we'll have a chance to talk to you next year and see how the market has changed and how things are progressing. But it's great to see you.
Great to see you too, and congratulations. It's really a great conference so far.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks.